Hi, my name is Brad. I've been teaching anatomy for almost 24 years now, and today we're talking about the endocrine system, specifically the pancreas. And we'll focus on the histology, the microscope side of the pancreas, focusing just on what we call the pancreatic islet or the islet of Langerhans. And this is the endocrine portion of it, which is only about 1 to 2% of the entire gland. Remember, we've talked about that there's an exocrine gland in the body and there's an endocrine gland in the body. Exocrine is typically a gland that's secreting a product through a duct that goes to a direct product. Good example is my sweat that goes directly to my skin. Versus endocrine is typically releasing a hormone to maintain homeostasis, and it's running through the bloodstream, so there is no direct target except for the cells of those tissues that will accept and understand the signaling from that hormone. So we're focusing on the pancreas from an endocrine standpoint, which is only 1 to 2%. The rest of it is a digestive gland, an exocrine gland. So it makes digestive enzymes that are secreted into the small intestine for the process of supporting digestion. So when we look at a histology slide, the majority of all of this is called pancreatic Islets. That's the exocrine function, which is roughly 98 to 99% of all of the actual organ. When we look at the pancreas and the endocrine side, the islet or pancreatic islet or islet of Langerhans is roughly 1 to 2%, and this is maintaining the sugars that we talk about relative to diabetes. Even though it's only 1%, we know it has a high impact on our body, and we need this to maintain homeostasis. I put the two cells that we focus on for this video today, alpha and beta, but when we look inside a pancreatic islet, there's actually 4 types of cells. First, we have alpha, beta, delta, and then they're called PP or F cells. So when we look at alpha, it's referring to the blood glucose as we increase the amount of blood glucose, meaning the glucose that's going to run through our system by way of the bloodstream. And we do this by stimulating the liver to release a lot of the stored glucose. Versus beta cells are our most abundant ones, and they do the opposite. They're decreasing the amount of blood sugar levels, meaning the amount of glucose that's running through the blood. So they have a negative feedback loop against each other to create that balance of homeostasis. So we have alpha and beta. The other 2 types of cells that we see in a pancreatic islets are first delta cells. Delta cells secrete a hormone, and that hormone's helping to balance our alpha and beta cells. And then lastly, we'll see PP or F cells. The PP stands for pancreatic polypeptide, and that's a hormone that's controlling some of our digestive secretions. But my focus is to talk about the alpha and beta because that's directly related to our diabetes. There's primarily 3 types of diabetes, 1, 2, and then you'll see gestational. So 1 is an autoimmune disorder, more genetic, that's impacting our hormone levels, specifically with insulin. Number 2, diabetes type 2 is our most common, but that's typically related to our lifestyle and how we maintain our bodies. And then lastly, we see this when we have females that are pregnant during gestation, so gestational diabetes, and it's messing up the balance of their sugars. But where we have this control is with alpha and beta cells. So the pancreas is 99% digestive, meaning exocrine. This 1% pancreatic islets is where we see our alpha and beta to where we control our blood sugars. How do we do that? To raise blood sugars, we add glucagon. So the alpha cells are producing glucagon, the hormone to put in the blood to raise those blood sugar levels. So typically when you're not eating and you are low blood sugar. Versus if I eat a lot, or I ate lunch right now, I have beta cells, remember the more abundant ones, they produce insulin to lower the blood sugars. So they have the opposite effect. And the liver plays a primary role in helping to store and release these sugars. So pancreatic islets, part of the endocrine, the hormone part of it, alpha and beta cells producing glucagon and insulin. This is the pancreas from an endocrine standpoint.